The movie begins in Montana in 1882, where boss Spearman leads a group of open-range cattlemen, including his hired hands, Charley Waite, Mose Harrison, and a young newcomer named Button, as they drive their herd across the countryside. Button, the youngest and least experienced, is still learning the ropes. One day, boss sends Mose into the nearby town of Harmonville to pick up supplies. When Mose doesn't return, boss and Charley grow concerned and decide to ride into town, leaving Button behind to watch the herd and wagon. In town, they stop at a stable run by Percy, where Charley spots Mose's rig and asks about him. Percy tells them that Mose got into trouble with some local cattlemen and is now in jail. Boss and Charley head straight to the jailhouse, where they meet Marshal Poole and a wealthy land baron named Denton Baxter, who controls the town and despises free-grazing cattlemen like Boss. Baxter owns a vast ranching empire and uses his influence to intimidate others. Mose is found badly beaten, but Poole, under Baxter's orders, reluctantly releases him to Boss, though not without a warning to leave the county as soon as possible. Boss and Charley take the injured Mose to Dr. Walter Barlow and his sister, Sue Barlow. The doctor treats Mose, who has suffered broken ribs. Aware that Mose also managed to break one of Baxter's men's arms during the fight, the doctor waives the fee and expresses some satisfaction that Mose fought back. Returning to their camp, Boss and Charley are alarmed to find Button missing. When he eventually returns, Boss scolds him for abandoning his post. Button explains to Charley that he saw 3 riders scouting the herd that morning, and now 4 masked men are watching them from a distance. When Boss, Charley, and Button attempt to confront them, the riders retreat without a word. Boss and Charley suspect that Baxter either wants to steal their cattle or drive them off entirely. Faced with no other option, they decide they must either fight or flee. Leaving Mose and Button to guard the wagon, Boss and Charley ride out to confront the men shadowing them. Under the cover of night, they sneak into the riders' camp and catch them at gunpoint. They disarm the men, force them to strip off their pants, destroy their weapons, and release their horses. Boss roughs them up with his gun, and when Charley tries to execute one of them, Boss stops him. During interrogation, the riders reveal that more of their group is heading toward the wagon. Boss and Charley rush back, only to find the aftermath of a brutal attack. Mose has been killed with a shot to the head, and Charley's dog lies dead. Button is severely wounded and left for dead. Charley's troubled past begins to surface. He once served in a ruthless special squad during the Civil War, and later worked as a gunslinger for men like Baxter, a part of his life he now deeply regrets. Determined to seek justice, Boss and Charley vow revenge. But first, Charley convinces Boss they must try to save Button. They bring him to the doctor's home, where only Sue is present. Dr. Barlow has been summoned by Baxter to treat his wounded men. Sue examines Button and determines his skull isn't fractured, but he's suffering from a severe concussion. As night falls and heavy rain pours, Boss and Charley ride into town. They stop at a cafe for a meal, but their quiet moment is interrupted when Marshal Poole enters. As they try to leave, Poole confronts them, claiming he has a warrant for their arrest for assaulting Baxter's men. The announcement causes a stir among the townsfolk. Boss fires back, saying he has just as much right to issue a warrant for the murder of Mose and the attempted murder of Button. He openly explains what happened, assuring the crowd that he and Charley have no intention of harming innocent people. Charley gets ready to draw his weapon, but Poole de-escalates, saying they should settle things another time. Afterward, the two return to the Barlow's house to check on Button. Sue serves them tea, and Boss opens up, revealing that he once had a family who died in an epidemic, and he hasn't returned home since. Sue offers them a place to stay for the night, but they politely decline. Before leaving, Boss quietly pockets a bottle of chloroform he notices on a shelf. Later, they head to a saloon in town. When they order drinks, the barkeep refuses, pointing to a sign that reads, "No varmints or vagrants." A clear message from Baxter, who owns the establishment. Charley slides a glass across the bar, hitting the barkeep in the head. then blasts the sign with a shotgun, intimidating the bartender into serving them. One of the patrons, who owns the general store where Mose was attacked, speaks up. He confirms that he witnessed the whole event, and that Mose had actually overpowered Baxter's top gunman, Butler. After leaving the saloon, Boss and Charley run into Percy, who warns them that the marshal's deputies are lying in wait at the stables and in their carriage, while Marshal Poole remains alone at the jail, expecting them to be brought in. Instead, Boss and Charley head straight to the jailhouse and turn the tables. Boss knocks Poole out with the chloroform taken from the doctor's office, then chains and locks him in his own cell. When the deputies return, the pair ambush them one by one, subduing each with chloroform before chaining and locking them up as well. They return to Sue's house for a final check on Button and share breakfast together. During the visit, Charley learns that Sue is the doctor's sister, not his wife, as he had assumed. Before they leave for their final confrontation with Baxter's men, Charley confesses his feelings to Sue. She responds warmly, giving him a locket for luck. Before the showdown, they stop at the general store. Boss buys the finest Swiss chocolates and the best Cuban cigars, treating it as if it might be their last day. He shares both with Charley. Boss also gives one of the cigars to Percy, while Charley leaves him a note. In it, he asks that if he doesn't survive, the money from selling his saddle and gear be used to buy Sue a new tea set, one he had accidentally broken during a flashback episode. Boss and Charley take their positions for the upcoming showdown. Before the battle begins, Charley reveals his full name, Charles Postlethwaite, and asks Boss to share his. Boss admits his real name is Bluebonnet Spearman, but makes Charley promise to keep it a secret. As Baxter and his men arrive, Charley doesn't hesitate. He steps forward and immediately shoots Butler between the eyes, the gunman responsible for killing Mose and shooting Button. A fierce gunfight breaks out in the streets. Though outnumbered, Boss, Charley, and Percy hold their ground until the townspeople, spurred into action when Sue is captured, join the fight. Sue's presence inspires them, as she and her brother are well respected in the town. Wounded during the chaos, Baxter retreats to Sue's home, only to find Button recovering there. He brings Button back to town to use as leverage, forcing Boss and Charley into the open. A tense standoff follows, until Button takes the initiative and fires the first shot. The battle resumes, and after a brutal exchange, all of Baxter's men, including Marshal Poole and his deputies, are killed. Baxter ends up injured and cornered inside the jailhouse. Boss blasts the door open and finishes the fight in a close-range shootout, leaving Baxter fatally wounded. Dr. Barlow tends to the injured townsfolk and open rangers. Later, Charley tells Sue he needs to leave, but she shares her hope for a future with him and promises to wait. Charley eventually returns and proposes, and Sue accepts. Once Button has recovered, Boss and Charley decide to leave cattle driving behind. After delivering their last herd, they settle in Harmonville and take over running the saloon. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.